welcome to special program. On every Wednesday, we'll come to see you to give you an update on what's going on with the election 2023. You will see us every Wednesday until we have the new government.
Exactly, and we'll begin tonight with a recap of what has happened throughout the week. One of the main highlights was the signing of an MOU between the Move Forward Party and its coalition partners. And out of all of the 23 policies that were listed on the MOU did not include the amendment of the lèse-majesté law, which senators have actually been waiting for because this will help them decide whether they will vote for Pita as the next Prime Minister or not.
And on Monday evening, around the same time, they said this is symbolically because 9 years ago on this day, 22nd of May, in the late afternoon, is when General Prayut Chan-o-cha announced the coup d'etat.
Exactly.
Back then. So they said that this is symbolic that the Move Forward Party choose the late afternoon of 22nd of May to announce the MOU as the shift from what has been.
And basically a new start of the new government as well. So Move Forward Party leader Pita Limjaroenrat officially announced the formation of his coalition government with 7 other parties on Monday, which is about a week after the general election. He said that it is a historic day because it is the 9th anniversary of the last coup in Thailand. Also, the formation of the government marks a peaceful transition in Thai politics. The joint memorandum of understanding is made to establish the foundation for the formation of a government and to work together among the Move Forward Party, Pheu Thai Party, Thai Sang Thai, Pracha Chat, Seri Rwam Thai, Pheu Thai Rwam Phalang, FAIR, and Phalang Sangkom Mai parties.
So all parties agree that every mission that the government will do must not affect the country's status as a unitary state, the country's status as a democracy under a constitutional monarchy's framework, and the violable status of the monarch. All parties agree to work together on these following 23 government tasks. 1. Restore democracy, including expediting the process of drafting a new constitution by the Constitution Drafting Assembly, elected directly by the people. I'm wondering how soon it can be because they have to elect the Constitution Drafting Committee first.
Yeah.
Right? Then that will be an election process by the people first. And then after that's set up, that committee, you have to come together and draft new constitution. This will be an interesting process to see how long it's going to take. 2. Affirm and pass Marriage Equality Act to ensure equal rights for all couples, regardless of gender, without infringing upon the religious principles each individual adheres to. That raised the question during a Q&A on Monday, though, whether it means that if you, let's say Muslim, can you marry the same-sex person? I mean, the same-sex spouse? And I'm not sure is the answer. It's more like the coalition partner answer that question. It's more like you cannot force, let's say, imam to perform religious rite for the same-sex couple, for instance.
Right, so it's more like for same-sex couples, if it's for certain religions, it's actually forbidden. So we will have to wait and see how this will actually be performed.
We will need to see more details on that. 3. Push for reforms in the civil servant, police, military, and justice process to be in line with democratic principles, considering transparency, modernity, efficiency, and maximizing the benefits for the people. 4. Transition from conscription to voluntary enlistment, except when the country is at war. This also will be interesting because there's a lot of split opinions on this. And we interviewed Dr. Panitha Wattanayakon about this on the election day. He said that it should be started as a mixed base, like both voluntary and also conscription. But I think right now in Thailand, we have both. We have people that apply to work in the military, and we also have people that have to go through this conscription.
But just to be clear, voluntarily enlistment doesn't mean that they're going to scrap the military. That's not the point.
Yeah. Number 5, collaborate on the process of building sustainable peace in the southern border provinces, considering human rights, coexistence in the multicultural society, participation of all sectors, and reviewing the missions of agencies and laws related to security. This also will be interesting because from standpoint, if the peace process had been going on in the South for decades and nothing improved, maybe it's time to make some change.
Exactly. And number 6 is strive for decentralization of power and budget allocation to enable localities to respond to the needs of their communities appropriately, efficiently, and without corruption. Number 7 is combat corruption through the establishment of a transparent and open government system disclosing state information in all agencies. And this is what Pita has been saying throughout all of the pre-election debates. Number 8 is to revive the economy by increasing people's incomes, reducing inequality, and creating a fair economic system that promotes growth. 9 is to overhaul laws regarding the people's livelihood and subsistence, such as temporarily suspending or reducing unnecessary and obstructive permits, providing financial relief and support for SMEs while focusing on the GDP growth of SMEs, supporting industries, and strengthening Thai products to compete globally. And number 10 is to abolish monopolies and promote fair competition in all industries, such as alcoholic beverages, with Prasha Chat Party reserving their right to disagree on the alcohol industry only due to religious reasons. And with the issue on the abolishing monopolies, this has always been said by the Move Forward Party, as well as the progressive liquor bill, which has been pushed by the Move Forward Party last year.
I think it's interesting that they try to address all the agendas that should be changed, reformed, or fixed for that instance, like loan or funding for SMEs. There's a little problem here and there. It's like they have this funding ready for people that wants to start small business. But then when they apply for this loan, the bank will be like, oh, you don't have experience in this. So they cannot get the loan. So there's money there that they cannot get. And it's not just 1 or 2 cases. It's the majority of people that cannot take a viable fund out to actually help them start the new business.
So basically not everyone has access to these funds yet because of the limitations that have been set by certain banks as
and
well.
when they talk about strengthening Thai products to compete globally, that is also something that we need to do with research and development, as well as, I mean, we can see the neighbor, Vietnam and Cambodia, that they set up the research and development for their agricultural product. Like Vietnam rice is now, I would say, they develop new species that actually can withstand heat and drought and climate change and all that. And it will dominate the world soon if we don't do any change.
Right, but speaking of promoting Thai products, previously the Prayut government has been talking about soft power, but we're pretty sure that there are many of Thai products that can be exported to several countries around the world and make it more famous as well. So it's nice to see that this is included in the MOU as well.
I think it used to be a thing of rice, thing of Thailand, but right now Thailand is not #1 rice exporter of the world, though.
Unfortunately, because countries like Vietnam has already taken over in terms of the rice quality.
Number 11, reform the land distribution system by amending related laws, providing fair land distribution, resolving conflicts between state and people on land ownership, and reviewing cases resulting from the policy of forest reclamation. Number 12, improve the electricity production structure, pricing calculations, and appropriate production capacity to reduce the cost of living and ensure energy security. This is very interesting because only these past 2-3 months that people, you can, in social media, you can hear people starting to complain that their electricity bill just doubled.
Especially during the summer.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like a couple hundred baht, we're talking about thousands of baht, maybe from 6,000-7,000 to over 10,000 baht.
Exactly.
And this is not like business, this is like home electricity bills.
Home electricity bills, it's like a double because of the summer heat.
And I hope that they will take a look at the renewable energy policy, clean energy.
Clean energy and solar cells.
Something that help encourage people to dive into this more. And number 13, establish a new budgeting system emphasizing the use of zero-based budgeting. Number 14, create a comprehensive welfare system from birth to old age, considering appropriateness and long-term fiscal sustainability, combat drug problems urgently. Number 15, reclassify marijuana as a controlled substance via issuing the Ministry of Health notification with new laws regulating and supporting its beneficial uses. So this also raises the question, what if if you come to Bangkok or some big provinces in Thailand, you will see the spawn of little shops with marijuana, with cannabis, drink, food, snacks, or just the herb itself. And it's better question if they will recriminalize cannabis. How are these businesses that up and running going to do? And people that start invest in the farm and all that, what are they going to do? So I think there's a lot more detail that need to go down with this.
A lot more details as well, because recriminalizing cannabis is something that needs to be considered, because if we go back, since cannabis has been legalized, there has been a lot of problems, especially with the access to it. And we've been hearing a lot that youngsters have access to it, and it has put their health at risk. And that has been a problem. And at least one person is definitely happy with this one. Reclassifying marijuana is Chuwikamovisit. He has always been saying that this is not okay and this really needs to change. And when Pita announced that they will reclassify marijuana as a controlled substance, he was actually cheering on. He was really happy to find out that they're going with this move. And moving on to number 16, it's to promote safe agriculture and livestock farming, protect and maintain the benefits of farmers, and reduce production costs, support marketing, access to technology and water resources. Number 17 is to encourage the formation of agricultural groups for production planning, protection of farmers' benefit, and promotion of agro-processing industries to create economic value from agricultural production. 18 is to revise fisheries laws, eliminate obstacles, remedy, and develop sustainable fishing occupations. Number 19 is to improve the rights of workers in all professions by ensuring fair employment conditions and remuneration that align with the cost of living and economic growth. Number 19 is definitely important because when it comes to employment conditions in certain businesses, some of them are still not okay at the moment.
I have to say though, besides improving the right, they have to be more serious about enforcement, the law.
Exactly. And number 20 is to elevate the healthcare system to ensure that the general public has access to quality healthcare services in terms of health promotion, disease prevention, treatment, and recovery. This is really important as well because of the COVID-19 pandemic has made us realize that the healthcare system must be up to standard so that they can actually serve everyone inclusively.
I mean, what we have is better than many, many countries, of course, but there are still room to be improved.
Exactly.
Number 21, reform educational system to enhance quality, reduce inequality, and promote lifelong learning. This will be an interesting one because every government in Thailand so far say that they will reform the education system. None of them has it done. When Prayut Chan-o-cha took office, he actually set up a reform committee to actually do the research and come up with plan to reform the education system in Thailand. 9 years has passed, nothing done. They were scheduled to some change in 2021, but 10 days before it's supposed to happen, the Deputy Prime Minister Wisanu Khongam come out and say that we're going to stop this for now. So back to the basic, nothing happened yet, so it'll be interesting to see whether this government can do it.
And part of it is because the Minister of Education has been changed from time to time, so many of the policies were not even continued. Most of them have been discontinued as well, but we can see that some of the policies were actually like let's say if one minister is gone, the next one doesn't even continue it.
It's a norm in Thailand for all these politicians. When they come in, they will scrap almost everything the previous government has done and renew whatever it is.
Exactly. And they never seem to understand that some of the policies have already been done, but then they never decide to continue with it, actually.
And number 22, foster domestic international cooperation and mechanism to address pollution issues, including the reduction of net greenhouse gas emissions to net zero as quickly as possible. I think that's already on the agenda of Prayut Chan-o-cha government, though, because we announced that we will be carbon neutrality in next 10 years or something. And number 23, implement foreign policy initiatives to restore Thailand's leadership role in ASEAN and maintain a balanced international relations between Thailand and major powers. I have to say that Thailand hold quite a balanced standpoint publicly when it comes to major powers, though. We are not really leaning toward anyone publicly. Behind the door, I don't know, something different, but officially we quite balanced.
In the eyes of the international countries, I mean, if you look from an international perspective, we seem to be in the middle between the global superpowers, whether it's the US or China. But then in many situations, we are sort of forced to take sides. But regardless of the pressures, they still try to remain neutral to all of the countries.
Anyway, one thing that people were hoping to hear is more information about amending or if they want to get rid of list majesty law in Thailand. But they didn't include it in the MOU. And it has been an attempt, they said, of Pitha to avoid a conflict with his new political allies, some of whom are opposed to it. They already said they will be in this coalition, but they will not touch the 112. Some of his coalition partners, including Pheu Thai and Thai Sang Thai parties, have publicly insisted that they do not support amendment of this list majesty laws. Regardless, Pitha insisted that his party will go ahead with a proposed amendment to the law and will submit to the parliament by itself.
Right, and as the amendment of the lèse majesté law wasn't included in the MOU, there's one person that decided to talk about it publicly. That is former Future Forward Party executive Piyabut Sangkanokgun, who posted on his Facebook on this issue, and he also felt that whoever becomes the House Speaker should also come from the Move Forward Party. So apart from the issue on the lèse majesté law, he also came out to say that the House Speaker should come from the same party. Piyabut said that the Move Forward Party must not lose the House Speakership to other coalition parties if it wants to avoid problems in tabling any amendment to the lèse majesté law in the parliament. Piyabut and other former Future Forward Party executives were banned from politics for 10 years after the constitution dissolved the party in 2020. However, he is regarded by many as the brains behind the Move Forward Party. The 152 House seats won by the Move Forward Party are not enough to form the government, so he thinks it is necessary to enter into a coalition with the Pheu Thai Party, which has 141 seats. And this means some compromise is needed. There have been news reports in the past few days that Pheu Thai wishes to take the House Speaker's chair. However, Piyabut insists that Move Forward Party cannot let this position go to any other party.
The contents of the MOU signed by all 8 coalition parties and unveiled recently clearly show that Move Forward has compromised many points to make them acceptable to other parties. working in a coalition government move forward will certainly need to compromise on many issues, including allocation of cabinet portfolios and the declaration of government policies. Piyamut also noted that such compromises are usual in a coalition government. However, the compromises should not extend to giving the House speakership to another party. Move Forward has many manifesto promises to be pushed through Parliament, so it should have one of its own MPs as House Speaker to handle and control the agenda. But traditionally, though, if you look in Thailand Parliament so far, House Speaker not necessarily and usually not really come from the party that led the coalition. They would they usually choose someone that have more seniority when compared to other member of parliament. Such the current one is Chun Lik Pai.
Yep.
He is a former prime minister. He is not from Palang Pracharat. He is from Democrat parties, which didn't have so many seats in the parliament, but he is well respected by most of the people.
Right, and Piyamut also wrote that the important deliverables are amnesty laws for offenses involving political expression and amendment of the lèse-majesté law. Neither issue is contained in the MOU, meaning the party has to submit them unilaterally, so the House Speaker has to be the party's MPs. If not, there would certainly be problems. He also concluded that Move Forward Party should consider this issue carefully and seriously.
Meanwhile, Move Forward Party Member of Parliament Rangsiman Rome insisted that the party will not let go of the House Speaker position. However, they have not decided who would be the most suitable candidate to take on the position, adding that based on the election history, except in 2019, whichever party won the most seats in the House would also have someone from the same party as the House Speaker.
Like you said, except for the current one, Chun Lik Pai, who's the House Speaker, came from the Democrat Party. He used to be the Prime Minister of Thailand, but he's not from the ruling government because the ruling government at that time was Palang Pracharat Party.
So, when they talk about the wages policy, it's raised a lot of concern among the private sectors that they think the 450 baht is a little high up, jumping from 300 something at the moment, even though some company already pay their workers above that rate already, but they feel that suddenly big jump can hurt their business. So yesterday, Pita met with the Federation of Thai Industry to discuss the economic policies as well as other concerns, particularly with the increase of the daily minimum wage. So far, FTI will submit a 5-point proposal to the new government to consider. FTI is the Federation of Thai Industry, said that they will submit this proposal that including the new minimum wage and energy fees to the new government. Their move follows a meeting yesterday between the executives of the FTI led by its chairman Griangkrai Thiennukul and key members of the Move Forward Party headed by Pita Limjaroenrat. The other urgent issues the FTI wants the new government to address are a shortage of skilled labor, assistance for small and medium-sized state enterprises, sustainable economic development, and amendment of archaic laws and regulations, which are seen as an obstruction to the business and industrial development.
And during the meeting yesterday, the Move Forward Party appeared to have softened its position on increasing the minimum wage to 450 baht per day within the first 100 days of the new government to allay concerns in the private sector. Pita and his staff are also scheduled to meet with Sanan Angubongun, who's the chairman of the Thai Chamber of Commerce next week. Sanan told Thai PBS that in the short term, he would like the new government to stimulate the economy and implement some of the policies announced in their campaign manifesto to reduce the cost of living, which includes a reduction in electricity charges and the updating or repeal of archaic laws which hinder business operations.
On the proposed 450 baht minimum wage, Sanan said that the issue should be handled by a tripartite committee comprising representatives of the labor, business, and government sectors. Snan offered moral support to the new government, saying that it is being led by the new generation of politicians, adding that the private sector hopes that the new government can be formed as quickly as possible to enhance the confidence of investors and private sector.
So we can see that the private sector has a lot of concerns for the new government. So we'll have to wait and see how Pita will actually deal with these problems as well. And even though forming the coalition government seems to be successful, they are still targets of criticism anyway.
Of course.
And the same political activists who complained to the Election Commission to sack Pita for owning shares in ITV has filed a new complaint to actually dissolve all of the 8 coalition parties. Solo political activist Rương Krai Lee Kit Watana urged the Election Commission today to dissolve the 8 coalition parties led by Move Forward Party, claiming that the MOU, which binds them together to form a government, is tantamount to domination of the parties and deprives them of their independence. The Palang Pracharat Party member said that he wants the Election Commission to investigate whether the insistence on the MOU by the Move Forward Party is a violation of the Political Parties Act, because the document binds the 8 parties together, depriving them of their independence. He claimed that he had closely monitored the MOU drafting process and discovered that the contents of the document were the result of negotiations, adding that he had to lodge a complaint against all the 8 parties instead of just the Move Forward Party.
Rương Krai also submitted additional evidence pertaining Move Forward Party leader Pita Limjaroenrat's shareholding in the ITV Today, a public broadcasting company which includes the list of all shareholder names for the past 18 years, as well as the annual balance sheets of the company to prove that it is a public company and it is still operational. Rương Krai is accusing Pita of owning 42,000 shares in ITV, which is prohibited for an electoral candidate who may be disqualified if they are found to actually own a stake in a media company. This is interesting though, because he has been making a complaint about it since before the election. And this is like over a week after the election, and this thing is still going nowhere. I mean, like the case still has no progress.
And it seems like he has been submitting complaint after complaint over the shares of ITV. Meanwhile, Pheu Thai Party leader Cholana Sikaew said that he is not worried about the complaint to the Election Commission. He also defended that the MOU, saying that it was jointly drafted by all 8 coalition parties of their own free will, without any control or even domination by anybody or any party. He also warned Rương Krai that his action could be seen as a violation of Section 101 of the Political Parties Act, which covers the making of false allegations against other parties. But after reading the story, it seems like someone doesn't want Pita to be the next leader.
Not just, well, they're on the opposite side of the politics, right?
Exactly.
So they have
Palang
to find...
Pracharat Party, who does not support Pita to begin with.
So the thing is, if he is disqualified by this share of 42,000, he has no one else to blame besides his law team and himself.
Right.
Because Thanathorn was disqualified because he owned a share in a media company. It happened to the previous life of this political party.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is that because they are already in the spotlight and they've been through this before, they should have been much more careful in everything.
Much more careful and be more, what do you say? It's like they have to be extremely careful with the details or even the holes that people might be ready to stab them.
Because
at any
people are
time.
looking for any little bit of mistake just to take them down. So they have to be super cautious about everything.
Exactly, but it seems like someone doesn't want Pita to be the leader. So that's why we're seeing complaints here and there just to sack Pita from his position.
It's 2 sides of the politics.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's all we have to do for you in this edition of Thai PBS Election 2023 special program on Wednesday night. But on Friday, we'll come back to see you with our normal program. This week with Thai PBS World, we have updates on the politics, of course, in Thailand and other related issues as well. Beside that, if you want to know anything else about Thailand, just log on to our website www.thaipbsworld.com.
Thanks for watching and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ